And like Swapna Garu introduced me, so I'm a neurologist by profession, but I'm originally from Anantapur in Andhra Pradesh. While growing up, I grew up in 9 different cities in 3 different states because of my job. Because of my dad's job. And I did my medicine from Deccan College of Medical Sciences, and I did 3 years of research at Harvard University here, and did my neurology and neuromuscular fellowship at from Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. And however, being an entrepreneur was always at the back of my mind. So with my husband, we founded Halvik in 2007, and I run the business operations full time. Since then, we've grown significantly, supporting 13 different federal agencies with a staff of over 1,000 people. And I will moderate this panel. And on this panel, I have Bindya Vakil, K. Ramesh, and Dr. K. Guntapalli. And first, I would like to start with the Bindya Vakil. Actually, I'll have them self-introduce themselves. And first, I'll start with the Bindya Vakil.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, and wonderful to be here. As the founder CEO of Resolink, I spent 15 years running a company that I founded that was an enterprise B2B supply chain risk management firm with a mission of delivering a global supply chain that was resilient, sustainable, fair, and secure. I grew up in India, in Gujarat. That's my until I finished my undergrad MBA there. Came to the US in 2000. Worked in supply chain at Cisco, Flextronics, and Broadcom. And then while I was at Cisco, I went to MIT, got my master's in supply chain, and had this idea of building resilient supply chains by creating a data foundation for mapping. And so that was the start of this 15-year journey. We were the first to market and created this category out of nothing, went and raised venture funding, and then we successfully exited in 2023. I currently am on exec chair on the board of directors, and it's a pleasure to be here, and look forward to being contributing here. So thank you.
Thank you, Bindya. And next, I would like K. Ramesh to introduce herself.
Thanks, Madhavi. Happy Ugadi to everyone. I'm so honored to be part of this amazing group of women and to speak in celebrating this Women's Day in honor of all women. Idin Anukade. So to know a little bit about me, I'd like to share about my childhood as well. I was born in a very small village called Chinalapatti in Tamil Nadu, India, to a family of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, my uncles were in various industries, including textiles, appliances, and running different factories. As a teenager, I learned in our family that girls' education were cut short. As soon as they finished high school, they were getting married off. So as a young girl, I made a pact that I was going to work hard and stand on equal footing with the boys who were prepared to run businesses and break the glass ceiling within our family. So I worked hard. I was a topper in my 10th grade and my 12th grade. And I went to a professional engineering college, Kamraj University in Tamil Nadu, and graduated as a gold medalist from the university. And then went on to do my MS and MBA here in the United States. Also, during my 20s, I joined my husband in a consulting company, in starting a consulting company, Cyber Media Technologies, and providing consulting for the US federal government. And fast forward 25 years later, we built a company with about more than 100 million in revenues, 990 million in pipeline. And in 2023, we actually sold majority shares to a company named Main Street Capital Corporation, which is traded in the New York Stock Exchange. So I still remain on the board of the company after the exit, and being a strategic advisor to the company right now.
Thank you, K. Ramesh. And next, I would like to ask Dr. K. Guntapalli to introduce herself.
Hi, thank you for having me on this panel. I'm Dr. Kalpalata, shortly called Dr. K in this country, Guntupalli. And I'm the youngest of the five siblings, born to two teachers. Um, all five of us ended up being doctors. So women, and four of us are sisters. So women's education and women empowerment was really very much in our DNA. My father actually taught alphabet to his child bride. She was 9 and he was 17. So women's education was really a top priority in our family. I'm an endowed professor of pulmonary critical care and sleep medicine at Baylor College of Medicine for the past 36 years. Earlier, I have served on the faculties of Emory University, University of Pittsburgh, and Georgetown University. I have been very fortunate, although I migrated to United States in 1973. I've been very fortunate to give opportunities in both academic field as well as in the social circles, and be recognized for that as well. I served as the first woman president of American Association of Physicians of Indian origin, and also the first foreign educated woman president of American College of Chest Physicians in their 73 years. So I have been in my academic career and have been successful. I have over 170 publications, many grants, and two books, and served on boards like American Board of Internal Medicine, which are academic certifying bodies. So that's short about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. K. So next we will talk in detail with each person. So first I would start with Bindia Vakil. So I know you were working for Cisco, but what was your inspiration to start your own business, Bindia?
Yeah, so when I was at Cisco, it was in supply chain risk management. You may remember in 2005, we had the terrible tsunami in Thailand, and a lot of people died there. It had been for me. I was in supply chain risk at the time. After that, we saw multiple events, right? We saw the Chengdu earthquake. We saw the Taiwan earthquakes, 9/11, all of these caused tremendous disruption to supply chain. Life-saving products could not make their way to people in needy communities worldwide. And as I was working at Cisco, we started to invent a way where companies could be a lot more proactive and using data rather than spending millions of dollars holding warehouses full of inventory. So I said someone needs to solve this problem. Ended up being me who partnered up. My husband is a co-founder. He's our technical brains. And so I would come home all the time and someone should start a company. And then the two of us architected what needed to be done. I ended up leaving. Got our first few customers, got our first investors, and then he ended up joining me a couple of years down the road. That was our journey. We ended up creating this category. I was somehow ended up being the face of supply chain. I've been on TV, on Bloomberg Business, CNBC News, Fox Business, etc., talking about supply chain risk and the importance of managing risk and being more proactive to audiences worldwide.
That's an amazing story, Bindia. So while you were running this business, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered and how did you overcome those?
You know, an entrepreneurship journey is difficult, like no matter who you are. I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this call, so you all know how hard it is to get started, how hard it is to come up with what is the first thing you do when you start a business, and then convincing people, right? You're convincing employees to give up their other job, lucrative jobs, and join you in this journey. You're convincing customers that your product is worthwhile, and then you're convincing investors to invest. So for me, I think those were the three challenges. I was a young-looking, first-time entrepreneur, brown woman, right? So I had a lot of things stacked against me. So I was not anyone's idea of a entrepreneur, that traditional software as a service entrepreneur. I did not have a software engineering background. So even on Sandhill, investing in me was challenging for people. So just to give you an idea of the statistics, though, like in a couple of years ago, I started looking at investing, how many women entrepreneurs get funding, and I saw that year, this was 2016, that year. For $1.5 billion that was raised by women entrepreneurs in the US, 64 billion. 64 billion went to men who are entrepreneurs. So you see how wide this disparity is. That's how hard the deck is stacked against us. So we have to be that much better. We have to be that much more, putting ourselves out there. And I think I had a lot of, fortunately, I'm in Silicon Valley. I had a lot of very strong advisors helping me throughout this, guiding me throughout this journey. And they all said, Bindya, be ready. You're going to have 30 no's before you get the first yes, right? And I was on to it. All right, I got it, 30 no's. I went through 40, 50, 60, 62 no's before I got my first investor. And unlike how you hear these stories, like we had 6 term sheets and we got to choose, I got 1 yes. I didn't get 6 term sheets. So there is a lot of challenging journeys that you have to go through. We shut down every 2 years. We were running out of cash, and then we had to get super creative, figure out how we were going to pay salaries and fund the business. And then, somehow we found a path through the madness. So my point is, if I had stopped at any point with the first no or the 10th no, I would not have made it. So my big message to everyone is that live for the yes. Live for the yes and wait for the yes, because there will be many, many more no's along the way, but you got to live for and wait for the yes.
That's awesome. And you've successfully exited your business now, right? So
Yeah.
you're probably looking at your next venture sometime soon. But during the course of running business, how did you maintain work-life balance?
Gosh, I actually did not do a very good job. I am a terrible cook. I do not like cooking. My whole point of getting in the kitchen is thinking how quickly can I get out of the kitchen. So we eat a lot of food out. We basically support DoorDash as IPO. So I think we are very much a DoorDash family. But my husband is also an incredible partner in this journey. He's a much better parent than I am. And then we did have a nanny that we hired. I have my EA who keeps life and things together. So I think we have a community of people that keep things going. Even the moms in my kids' class knew that I was going to be the parent that forgot to pay this fee or sign on to that and do this or whatever. And they kept an eye out and they would text me and remind me. So my point to you guys is you have a community, take advantage of them, pitch your vision. You are the CEO of your own life. Like set your vision. What is it you want to accomplish? And then go get that help from whoever is able and willing to help you. So carpools with other moms, husbands, grandparents, families. I mean, we are not fortunate enough to have our family locally. Everyone is in India. So we did not have that option, but we went and found help from, the outside. And the community was incredible.
That's awesome. So next, I would like to ask questions to K. Ramesh. So Kay, that was an incredible journey that you've had growing up in India. So compared to a commercial sector that we just heard from Bindia, so federal government is a completely different playing field. So how did your journey start here?
Yeah, like Bindia, I also have the incredible opportunity of working with my husband and life partner. And
Yeah.
we are serial entrepreneurs. And during our very first venture in 1996 to 2000, we built this product for secure data transmission between servers. This was the time when .com and e-commerce was booming. And so one of the companies here in the local area, government contracting company, got interested in our product, invested in our product, and eventually bought us out. to be part of their company, and they had a lot of Army and defense contracts. And eventually they got bought out by L3, who is now L3 Harris, one of the largest defense contractors here in the area. So that journey opened our eyes into the government market space. And the fact that we're living here in the DC metro, right next to the Capitol, it just made sense for us to, when we started our second venture, it made sense for us to serve the US government. And really, our goal was to provide exceptional service for better government. And that's how our journey started with the government.
That's awesome. And so during the course of your running the business, I know you've exited as well. What are some of the turning points and challenges in your career?
Yeah, so as you're running any business, there are different turning points, and you're constantly assessing the business as the business is growing. And then you are looking to see whether I have to stay on course or pivot, what I have to change in the business, right? One of the turning points that I think is worth sharing here with this community is that when we were a handful of employees trying to grow, I would like to use the analogy of fishing, where everyone in the company would go look for opportunities, and then we would bid, and we would catch that one fish, one opportunity, and then come cook it and clean it and eat it, and then go back to the lake for more. By that time, more fish has already gone by. So we were growing in bursts, a little bit at a time. And so we were assessing about how can we do this differently so we can scale the business. We were looking at some of the large companies where they have teams of people who are going and looking for opportunities, and then teams of people who are executing on the opportunities that have already been won. So we said, why don't we start restructuring ourselves around that? So we created a sales team whose job is basically to go find opportunities, do the fishing. And then we had the delivery and operations team who is basically executing, organically growing, nurturing our current clients. So once we started restructuring that, that was a pivotal moment in our business where our business started growing, our pipeline started growing, and our business started humming, our business engine started humming, and we were able to parallelly grow and bring new opportunities and take care of our clients at the same time. So we were able to grow and scale the company from there on. So that was a very pivotal moment in how we structured the company for growth and consciously worked towards the growth trajectory. Yeah.
Awesome. And looking at your resume, you did your MBA from Smith School of Business. So how did your MBA help in running business? And do you recommend other women to consider pursuing MBA? I think that question goes to you, Bindya, as well, but I'll let Kay answer that question and I'll come back to you.
Sure, Madhavi. Yeah. So I did my bachelor's in electronics and communications in India. And then here I came and did my master's at George Mason University in information technology. And we'd already been running the business, and I felt that it would be good to have a formal education in business, so that would be another way to make the business run efficiently. So I went and did my MBA at Smith Business School for marketing and finance. But I would say that in any business, there is hard skills and soft skills, meaning I learned a lot of my soft skills learning from watching my grandfather, watching my uncles. How do you treat your customers? How do you work with your partners? How do you set up short-term, long-term goals for the business? How do you set up the vision for the business, right? And then the business schools teach you the hardcore skills where they're teaching you how to set up your profit and loss, how to set up your balance sheet, how do you set up your brand identity, how do you set up your marketing strategy, right? But when you put that soft and hard skills together, it becomes a powerful engine. And how you use the different pieces to grow your business, that is your secret sauce. So I really would recommend women who are considering MBA, whether you're taking a career path or thinking about starting your own company, that it's definitely an additional tool in your toolbox to consider. Yeah, it really helped me for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
and
And how about
Madhavi,
you,
did you
Bindya? You did
wanna-
your
Yeah,
you did
sorry.
your MBA from MIT. So what are your thoughts on pursuing MBA?
Yeah, look, I think it's really important for everyone to really understand how money works in this world. Money drives
Yeah.
everything. And so whether you're planning to be an entrepreneur or whether you're going to work in a hospital or any, like knowing how the people who manage the money think and what their care abouts are is incredibly valuable education for your personal growth and your professional success. So I'm a huge proponent of getting a business education, whether you do an MBA or not. Like we're in this incredible age where you can watch YouTube videos for any topic imaginable or get certifications for anything while you're working. So business is not one of those things that you need to have a structured MBA education. You can learn about business in many different ways. My point is learn about money, learn about all kinds of business topics because you could be in a job and knowing about how the people around you, your stakeholders think, what are their incentives, motivations, and care about will be an incredible boost to your personal, how you come across in these
Yeah,
conversations. It
Madhavi,
will help you connect with your audience.
yeah, Bindira
Perfect.
and Madhavi, if I can add one more item, it's a process of continuous learning, I think, because you
Yes.
can go for a degree, but then 10 years down the road, go for a certification or keep up with what is happening in your market space, right? Go to those conferences, see where the industry is going. How can I position my business to be part of this up and coming technology or whatever it is, right? Just continuously learning, listening, being out there. I think it's very important to run your business or grow in your career. Back to you.
Awesome. That's perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Now we'll move on to Dr. K. Guntupalli. So, Dr. K, you came to this country back in 1973 and sort of paved a path for all of us. So, what was your experience in the United States when you were new to this country? So, how did the society treat you, being a woman?
Very soon after I came, I mean, as soon
Hmm.
as you land and your green card gets stamped, I realized I'm not a citizen. I had
Hmm.
6 strikes against me. I'm not a citizen. I'm an international medical graduate. You have all the local graduates, and suddenly they call you ING. Then I'm a woman. I'm a married woman, woman of color. And finally, I'm a very vertically challenged woman. I'm only 5 feet. So even when I go to give a speech or something, they have to get a stool for me to stand on. Otherwise, it will be like Akashwani speaking. After a few years, I realized that there are three other things that people don't talk about. One was a glass ceiling that many people talked about, that you can go beyond after you achieve certain status. And the second one is glass escalator. Suddenly, some people seem to be going very fast. You don't know why. You have the same qualification. And the third one is like a sticky floor, what I call sticky floor. I heard it somewhere. So you're not even allowed to take off. So those are the three things that I kind of realized a little bit later and recognize them, that they exist. And I'll give you two examples or three examples why I came to that conclusion. And it was kind of sad. I was listening to the political panel earlier, and they had, even today, after so many decades, they're having similar challenges. When I came here, my husband is also a physician, but he didn't take the exams to enter the system. So I had residency and he did not. He joined the workforce about a year and a half later. So to go to work to the hospital, I needed a ride. I needed a car. So we went to bank to apply for loan. They wouldn't give me because my husband wasn't employed. So for a year and a half, we struggled. I had to, take a ride from my colleagues to go to work every day. The second one was anytime I walked into a patient's room, they addressed me as a nurse. And, similarly, others have challenges in their field because at that time, maybe less than 5% of doctors were women. Now, of course, in our medical school class, more than 50-60% are women. Third one is that when I was very involved in AAPI organization and I was serving on committees, I did a great job and so on. And they would always say, all the men would come and say, hey, we need a woman president. We need a woman president. And but for every office I ran, treasurer, secretary, vice president, president, while some of the other men had no opposition, they were going, uncontested. For every position, I had somebody who was fighting me. In fact, they would tell me, "Why don't you stop this year? Next year we'll support you." And I had to fight. In fact, when I was going for the president of API, the person who was contesting had hired Zogby International, which was like a big, you would see on CNN in those days, like taking polls. They took a poll whether academician will understand the job because I was with the university, or a private practitioner. So it was so funny. Finally, I mean, we are all friends. I was the first woman president in the 13 years of API. Having said that, I would say that the same year, the American Medical Association elected their first woman president, Dr. Nancy Dickey, also from Texas, in their 150 years. So I can say that we have always been ahead of it. So uh, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying what the challenges were. But even then, we are very fortunate. I was very fortunate to be given those opportunities.
It is sad that even to this day, some doctors, I mean, some patients treat doctors as nurses, so it's still going on, unfortunately. But I'll move on to the next question. So I mean, reading at your bio, it is very, very interesting. And you wore and still wear many hats as a practicing physician, researcher, professor, and first woman president of API back in '98. And also you were a president of American College of Chest Physicians, and you won so many accolades. So what is your secret sauce to life?
I call this 10 rules of engagement with life. And your station in life may change from being a mother of young children to whatever station you are. But I think these are very good to build resilience and engage with life. Number one, I would say, is chart a roadmap for yourself. I always have a retreat, like with myself, once a year, with no phone, nothing. Close the door. Don't have to go out of the house, but I'll just do a short term and a long term goal. Number two is time management, and you have to be very organized. So I have a daily list, I have a weekly list, I have a yearly list, and I sometimes go back to my retreat notes or slides. And the key, if you get overwhelmed with large tasks that you have expected of yourself, is to have a written down, attainable, biteable, short goals that you go back and actually say, did I do this week or not? Sometimes you won't do it, at least you know you have done. Number three, very important, is that to delegate anything others can do better than you. And time management, that's very, very important. I don't believe in doing menial tasks just to show that I can also, clean my house just as good as anybody else, or I love cooking, by the way, but I don't have to show that I can do this dessert just like my other friend. I'm not in competition. So anything somebody else can do better than me, I will delegate it. There are two exceptions, which I'll talk about later on. The fourth point is, take permission to yourself, take time for yourself to self preserve and have personal development. So whatever works for you, when I get up, I do my meditation, I do my yoga every single day. That gets me ready for the day and keeps me kind of grounded. Have a hobby outside. That's my fifth point. It doesn't something not do with your work. It could be anything. There's no right answer for that. Very important thing, the sixth point I say, is that surround yourself with nurturing and positive people. All of us know some of the toxic people or Debbie Downers who are always saying no or pulling you down around you. Avoid those people like poison. These toxic people, you don't want them around you or your children. Number seven is find meaning in your work, meaningful work. Find meaning in whatever you do, because sometimes some other job may give you 50% more salary, some other job may give you more time. Somebody told me once that you can't have name, fame, and time and money, all of them. So you decide what you want. So Just because something is better in certain aspect, if it doesn't mean anything to you, don't take that job. So what you do, you find joy in itself, then work won't be a big problem. Also, at least in our field or in other fields, they say you retool yourself every 10 years. Find a new technique or become expert in something that's becoming state of the art, because medicine changes all the time. It can be you change from clinical to administrative job, whatever it is, retool and refine your work. Number 8 is celebrate your achievements, especially women. If somebody says, "Hey, you're looking great today," or "Congratulations, you got that award," say, "Oh, that's nothing. It was very easy. This dish you made is very good. Oh, it was very easy. It's nothing." So find your. As women, it's very hard for us to take a moment, more than a fleeting moment, just to hold it in your heart. If somebody says, something nice to you, they mean it. Just hold it for more than a fleeting moment. Then, most important, which is actually premise for any of these, is hard work, honesty, and integrity. These are the three important key foundations for success. And number 10, I feel this is the most important, is to not only find a supportive husband, but also somebody who celebrates your success, who's proud of it. In my life, I have been very lucky. Besides my father, the person who is most happy and celebrates my success or anything has been my husband. If you have somebody who's not supportive, you just have to train them. That's all would be my my 10 rules.
That's awesome. And those are perfect, amazing lessons for all of us to, follow on a daily basis. But again, during the course of your life, what challenges did you face to raise a family while maintaining such a busy career?
I think ours was a two-career family. I'm sure many these days have two-career
Yeah.
families. So both of us would have night calls and all kinds of challenges, and like somebody mentioned, babysitter, all of those things. Um, to me, there are two important challenges for anybody. Number one is the time, which is the worst challenge. Even Modi ji has only 24 hours. Then how come somebody achieves so much and somebody else is struggling just to just go to work and come home? So here I think this is where I mentioned you delegate work. I When I was younger and my kids were younger, I would rather moonlight at night and make enough money to pay somebody to clean my house, so I don't have to work, hard or scream at the kids because I'm doing something that I'm not enjoying. But somebody else can do it, and I will make myself afford if I can't afford. That's one thing. The only two tasks I would recommend you don't delegate in your life. Everything else can be delegated, believe me, is being a wife and being a mother. You don't want to delegate those two. I rather have somebody come and clean my house and spend the time with my kids when they were growing up than, clean the house, cook, and, the second most important challenge, other than time, for anybody, especially for women, is guilt. Guilt is the one that's killing all of us. I don't know if you agree. I see some nods there. We are always
Definitely.
guilty.
We all agree.
And it's for women. Men are not guilty at all. So there is no right answer. So I would say guilt will kill you from what you would have, you could have, you should have done in the past, or what you would, should, or could do in the future. So the regrets of the past and the uncertainties of the future are going to totally kill you. So I think that just do the best job. Remember, you've done very well for yourself. All of us have done well for ourselves. So our parents, our bringing may not be the perfect, but we did fine, and our parents did the best they could. So that's all you have to say. And you know that your children will say, "Oh, why didn't you do this?" or "You didn't do this for me." Just say, "Son or daughter, I did the best I can. We tried to be the best parents we can." So when they were younger, I had like two nannies sometimes, from 6 to 3 and 3 to 11, or I may have been ordering food like you. But now my kids are out of the house. So I love cooking. So I retooled myself into doing that very effectively and very enjoying it thoroughly. So it may be different stations. You just have to, you know, find an answer. There's no right answer.
That's so correct, Dr. Guntupalli. So, what's your
I think,
message to the future women leaders? Sorry,
sorry,
I see
Madhvi,
someone else
one
speaking.
Yeah, just one thing on that guilt piece. What Dr. K said was so powerful. So just
Yeah,
one sentence that I've told people who work for me who had the guilt, the mom guilt, right, of not being able to do enough, is make sure your kids are proud of the mom you are and not the mom they wish they had. That's one really important thing. If you guys think about it that way, you are awesome, and make sure your kids know that and respect you for what choices you have made.
that's very well said, Bindia. That is awesome. Yeah, that's very well said. And going back to Dr. Guntupalli, so your message to the future women leaders?
There are two messages. First thing is um, your personal health and the health of the people who matter to you that surround you is very, very important. All of us are talented. We have degrees, we have drive, we have come here. So that's very important. Many of my classmates or people I know that are much smarter than me have not even been able to work because of the challenges in their life. So be when all the stars align, like you're healthy, your spouse is healthy, kids are healthy, they're doing okay in school, then if the second one is drive and opportunity, you have this at the background or stars are aligned. And second thing is you have drive and opportunity. Please do more than just going to work and checking your bank balance. I think as women, 50% of the workforce, we have to contribute something. So don't waste that um, ashirwad that given by Bhagavan. Just do something more. It doesn't have to be very big. You can be a PTA member or whatever it is. Do more than just going to work, coming back, if you can. Um, and finally, the other advice I would give, I read somewhere that don't worry about teaching your daughter how to fit into the glass slipper rather than teach her how to break the glass ceiling. So especially for daughters, please, like she said, you are awesome. Let them realize, and they know watching you, they know what sacrifices you made. You know, and we really stand tall on their shoulders, our kids and husband. And I also read somewhere that the success behind every successful woman is a hungry man waiting for dinner. So there's a lot of sacrifices that other people have made.
That's awesome. So now I'll move to K. Ramesh. So, what's your message to the future women leaders in the audience?
Yeah, I know we are celebrating Women's Day here. So I want to say to all the young girls watching here and women watching here that, dream big. If you have the grit and are willing to work hard, I know many of us touched on this topic, that you can achieve anything, that anything you want, And I personally feel everything happens twice, once in your mind and once in reality. So set your vision, see where you want to be, and just work small baby steps every day, right? And create your support system around you so that you have that help. You don't have to feel that guilt that we all talked about, and continue to keep moving forward. Sometimes we move forward one step, move back three steps. It's okay. We learn something from it, and we continue to keep moving forward, right? And then I also remember the three P's. One is purpose, passion, and perseverance. If you know your purpose of why you're doing it, that drives you. And then if your passion is, I think of Hanumanji like carrying the mountain every time I go to the temple and see Hanumanji, I'm like, because of the passion, the mountain doesn't seem heavy. So because if we have passion, what we carry as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as career women may not feel that heavy, right? And then perseverance, like, really staying to your goals and staying to what you want to be known for, what you want to achieve, whether it's family life, career life, work life, whatever it is, go for it, right? And with the passion. the combination of the three P's, I think, is very powerful to remember. And for all the young girls and women out there, get educated. That's your foundation for your success as much as you can, right? Build all those skills. And if the foundation is strong, you can build anything on top of it. So that's my few thoughts and advice for women and young girls who are watching.
That's awesome. And the same question goes to you, Bindia. What's your message?
There's a really good book I read by Rachel Hollis called Girls Stop Apologizing. I don't know if you guys have ever picked up this book, but Rachel Hollis is an amazing author. If you haven't and you want someone to pump you up and energize you and get you going, go get that book. Because really, we can be our own worst enemy. We can hold ourselves back. One of the examples, either it was in her book or Brown's book, was, if our child takes 10 steps and then falls, do we criticize them for falling, or do we celebrate the 10 steps? We celebrate the 10 steps. But in our life, we hold ourselves accountable for our failures far more than celebrating our own 10 steps. And so that's what I want. If you think about it that way, don't be your own worst enemy. Don't let the no's in your life bring you down. I love what Dr. K said about don't let the haters bring you down. Surround yourself with the cheerleaders because you have them. And don't let the no's define you. Wait for the yes and work for the yes. And that's my last thing.
That was amazing, Bindia. So I think this concludes Eminent Women Leaders. So with the time in mind, I think I tried to keep it short.